Go with your heart, but you also have to win elections. Very important. You have to win. So go with your heart, do what you want, but you do have to win elections. We have elections that are very important to win. And if you don't do certain things, you're not going to win elections, and it'll be a very Pyrrhic victory. It'll be a victory that's not really a victory at all. But Ronald Reagan felt that. I felt that. Many people feel that. And we really did something that nobody thought was possible.
So a lot of Christians, pro-lifers, are upset at Donald Trump for saying this, if social media is any indication. And to me, this is just so insufferable to be upset at this. First of all, he didn't say anything new. We know his position on abortion. But secondly, anytime you vote in an election, anytime, you're voting for the lesser of two evils. We live in a sinful, fallen world. We are sinful, fallen humans. You are voting for the lesser of two evils. Now, I happen to be excited about Donald Trump. I don't view it as a lesser of two evils thing, but if that's how you view it, and you're sitting there telling yourself, I'm not going to do it anymore, I hate it when people say, oh, I'm not going to play this game, voting for the lesser of two evils. That's what you always do in an election. It is what you always do. You vote for the lesser of two evils. So go do it. Go do it, because there's a clear lesser of two evils in this particular election. Now, I am ardently pro-life as they come, no exceptions, and I have no qualms about casting my vote for Donald Trump because he is the candidate most friendly to my ends, to your ends, to our ends, who has an actual shot at winning. That's really what it comes down to. He's the candidate who's going to further my agenda, probably very similar to your agenda if you are a Christian conservative, and he has an actual shot at winning. That's all the math that goes on in my head, okay? That's really all you need because that's how elections work. A lot of you are grandstanding about compromising. The amount of times I've heard a Christian say this political cycle, oh, we don't care about political points. We're not going to compromise. You know what? I don't want you to compromise in your daily life. I don't want you to go get an abortion. I don't want you to water down your own opinion on abortion or your own messaging on abortion. I don't want you to do that because I am ardently pro-life. However, in elections, you compromise. In elections, you compromise. That is what happens. In order to win elections, Donald Trump is right. I disagree with his position on abortion, but he is right. In order to win elections, you compromise. And that does not mean that you go home and you're happy with the compromise and that's it, the fight's over. No, you compromise, and then hopefully in the next election, you compromise again, but you move a centimeter, a millimeter to the right. Just a little bit. And that's how it's done. Because you guys, that's how the left did it. We are run by leftists and communists. They have taken over everything, and they did not do it overnight. They did it over the course of decades, if not longer, moving inch by inch by inch, almost imperceptibly to the left. So why on earth do Republicans, do Christians, do conservatives, do pro-life advocates expect anything to happen overnight? Because it isn't going to happen overnight. If Ron DeSantis or whomever it is that you think is a real conservative had run and made it this far and had run on the idea that he was going to work to instill a national abortion ban or a 6-week ban, he would have lost. It is wildly, wildly unpopular right now. I want a national ban too, but in order to ever do that, it's going to take decades, if not longer. We are going to have to work to change culture in tandem with changing laws. It's not going to happen overnight. In the same way that it took damn near 50 years for an unconstitutional decision that anyone could see was unconstitutional, in the same way that it took almost 50 years for Roe to fall, none of this is going to happen overnight. And we discharge weapons into our own feet when we act as if we expect it to happen overnight. And we say, oh, I'm going to write in a third-party candidate who we know isn't going to win, or I'm going to stay home because I'm not going to compromise. We are discharging weapons into our own feet. And frankly, to me, it just seems like you want to be able to grandstand and act like you're holier than thou and be up on your high horse instead of actually get down in the arena and actually fight for these things. Because in this election cycle, your choice is between saving some babies and saving none. That's the choice, because saving all the babies ain't on the ballot because it wouldn't win. Okay? Donald Trump has made it clear he's going to leave it to the states. I disagree with that. But with leaving it to the states such as it stands, there are several states where it's totally banned or restricted, heavily restricted. And that saves lives. That saves lives. We know that about 30,000 more babies are born each year since Roe fell. Is all of that due to Roe falling? Probably not, but some of it is, because there are women who either cannot or will not make the trek out of state to go get an abortion. And that saves lives. But if the radical Democrats, and they're all radical these days, if they take the White House, Kamala Harris is radical, if they take the White House and they take Congress, and they actually do work to codify something like Roe, well then no state in the union can restrict abortion in the first trimester, which means every woman everywhere in the United States is able basically to get an abortion once she finds out she's pregnant, and she does not have to leave the state. That doesn't save lives. That's what's on the ballot. There is no national abortion on the ballot. And writing in Ron DeSantis is also not going to get a national abortion ban. So it's just, to me, it's very, very foolish. And if you're sitting around saying, I won't vote for Donald Trump because he's compromised on abortion, I want you to know that you compromise on abortion every damn day, because you live in cities where they happen. You live in a country where they happen daily by the thousands, yearly by the hundreds of thousands. In 2020 alone, almost 1 million abortions. And for the most part, you go on about your life. So you can do all this grandstanding online and all this stuff, and you can sit home in November, whatever the heck you want to do. It's a free country. But just know that you actually do compromise on abortion. And I'm not really sure how that's any different than helping to ensure the victory of the candidate who's most friendly to your aims, who has an actual shot at winning. Again, for me, make no mistake, Donald Trump is a stepping stone. He's not the end-all be-all. He is a stepping stone to a Ron DeSantis or whoever it is that you think is more conservative. But this kind of stuff is not going to happen overnight.